He never in a million years expected his parents to come back from a trip with a whole new sister.
He has no idea that this supposed sister is actually a massive yandere who wants to control his entire life. He stares wide-eyed at the girl standing in front of him, looking to be around 23 or 24. She is wearing a simple white shirt and jeans, with her dark hair falling over her shoulders. Her skin is so pale it looks like she has never seen the sun, but her eyes are what really grab his attention. They are unnervingly large and terrifyingly pitch black. She stares right at him without blinking, softly saying, "Hello, little brother." A creepy smile creeps onto her face, making him take a step back in pure shock. He stammers out, "Wait, Mom and Dad? You guys have to be kidding me, right? What kind of new scam is this?" But his mom just slaps his arm. She tells him to hush, explaining that this is Liu Ruyan, whom they met in Lijiang. Apparently, she was traveling alone and got her wallet stolen, so they treated her to dinner. They clicked instantly, and since she did not have any family left, they felt a connection.
"So you just decided to adopt a fully grown daughter?" he interrupts in complete disbelief.
"Did you guys go on vacation, or did you visit an orphanage?" Suddenly, Liu Ruyan takes a step closer. Her freezing cold fingers brush his cheek as she asks, "Does little brother not like me?" He shudders instantly, realizing her skin temperature is unnaturally, terrifyingly low. It feels like a cold snake on his skin as he stammers that it is not that. "It is just way too sudden," he stammers, suddenly noticing her nails are painted a dark blood red. They glint like fresh blood under the hallway lights. Meanwhile, his dad is already wheeling his suitcase inside. He tells them to stop crowding the doorway and head inside to talk. He warmly tells Liu Ruyan to make herself right at home from now on. Our guy can only watch in absolute shock as this complete stranger follows his parents inside.
She smoothly grabs some slippers and puts them on as if she has lived there for 20 years. He tries to protest. "Miss Liu?"
"Call me sister," she says, without even looking back, her voice soft but completely unyielding. By dinner time, he finally pieces the facts together. Liu Ruyan is a 23-year-old freelancer. Both of her parents passed away, and she met his parents during her solo travels. And now, she has somehow become a family member. His mom mentions Liu Ruyan will stay in the room next to him. She keeps piling food on her plate, adding that she can help clean up his messy room. He protests immediately. No way does he need a nanny. Liu Ruyan suddenly looks up, her dark eyes locking onto him, as she flatly states she is not a nanny. "I am your sister," she says, gently setting down her chopsticks, calling him little brother. She points out that he has a grain of rice on his cheek, before he can even react. She reaches over and gently wipes it away with her thumb.
And then, no shot guys, this actually happened, she pops that grain of rice right into her own mouth.
To make matters worse, his parents are actually watching this whole thing with proud, happy smiles. His voice literally shakes as he asks them if they do not find this even a little bit weird. "What is weird about it?" his dad asks, stuffing his face with pork. "Is it not great to have an older sister to look after you?" Later that night, he lies in bed, tossing and turning, while the room next door remains completely silent. He has absolutely no idea what this self-proclaimed sister of his is doing in there. Unsettled, he grabs his phone and texts his best friend, Faye, explaining his parents just brought home a sister. Faye replies instantly, classic, legendary move. He asks if she is hot, making our guy picture the incredibly pale, creepy face of Liu Ruyan. Those eyes of hers are pitch-black voids. Pretty, but terrifying. It is low-key giving horror movie vibes. Send a pic. Our boy hesitates. Taking secret photos is just too creepy. Suddenly, hurried footsteps stop outside his door. He holds his breath. He stares at the shadow under the crack. The handle turns. Instantly, he jumps up and grabs a heavy dumbbell. Ready. The door creaks open, and Liu Ruyan is just standing there. In a white nightgown under the moonlight, she looks ghostly. "You still awake, little brother?" she whispers softly. Her voice is smooth as silk. He stammers, "What do you want?" Shaking like a leaf, he watches her tilt her head. She suddenly laughs. "Are you afraid of me?" She steps forward. "I just brought you some warm milk to help you sleep." That is when he notices the glass. She walks closer. She sets it down on the nightstand, then pats his head. "Drink it up and sleep," she says, stroking his hair.
Big sister will make you breakfast tomorrow. He is completely frozen.
He finally breathes when she leaves. He won't touch that milk. Next morning, a delicious aroma wakes him up right away.
The table is loaded with bacon, eggs, and fresh salad. Even fresh juice. Liu Ruyan is cooking, wearing a cute apron.
She spins around smiling. "Awake, little brother? Go wash up."
Breakfast is almost ready. He is completely stunned.
This is actually wild. A total stranger from yesterday acting like this.
She is playing house in his kitchen. Time to wash up. He realizes his old toothbrush and towel are completely gone, replaced with fresh ones alongside brand new skincare products. "Where's my toothbrush?" he asks, storming out. "Thrown out," Liu Ruyan says, flipping pancakes. "The bristles were totally ruined and bad for your gums." But that was his favorite toothbrush for 2 whole years. She finally turns around with that creepy, gentle smile.
It is honestly terrifying. Now you have a sister to help you. She promises to handle everything.
He is completely speechless. Her gaze gives him chills. It is pure psycho-obsession. Like he is some lost toy she finally recovered. Creepy.
After breakfast, his parents announce they are leaving for 3 days. He cannot believe they're leaving him with this stranger.
No shot. His mom says she is not a stranger. Mom pats Liu Ruyan, declaring her a member of the family.
His dad whispers, "Hey son, this girl is great."
"Shoot your shot. Our boy almost coughs up blood."
They are completely misunderstanding everything. Soon, the parents leave.
Immediately, Liu Ruyan switches up and grabs his wrist.
Her grip is insanely strong. "Now, little brother," she whispers.
Her breath brushes against his neck, whispering that they need to discuss house rules.
"House rules?"
She nods, magically pulling a pair of sharp scissors out of thin air. She waves them right in front of his face. Rule 1, be home by 10. Rule 2, drink 8 cups of water daily. Then she pauses.
The cold glint of the scissors reflects in her eyes.
"No calling my name. Call me big sister instead." He gulps hard. What if he says no? She just smiles, sliding the blade right along his collar. A button snaps off, hitting the floor. Well, then little brother loses some clothes.
Bro didn't adopt a sister. He literally invited a whole Yandere boss into his house.
The next 3 days are a straight-up nightmare. Liu Ruyan completely takes over his life.
She decides what he eats, what he wears, and exactly when he sleeps. Even his TV shows are under her control. Of course, he tries to fight back.
But he always ends up facing those phantom scissors and her pitch-black, soulless eyes. The wildest part is that she genuinely believes she is his actual sister. She will pop up mid-game and press her ice-cold hands right over his eyes. "Too much screen time is bad for you," she says, before dumping his takeout directly in the trash. Then she serves her own homemade meal. Honestly, even when he goes to the bathroom, she stands right outside, asking if little brother needs her help. This is actually crazy. By the 3rd night, he finally snaps and screams that he has had enough. He flips her carefully prepared dinner onto the floor, yelling that she is not his sister. She is just some random, creepy stranger. Get out! Liu Ruyan just stands there, frozen. She stares blankly at the ruined food on the floor, then slowly kneels down. She starts picking up the broken plates. Is little brother angry?
Her voice is low, carrying this absolutely terrifying, eerie sense of joy. Even when you are mad, you are still cute. He turns to walk away.
But boom, she locks her arms around his waist from behind like an iron vice. Her face presses against his back. "Do not push me away," she begs, suddenly sobbing. "You are the only family I have left." Hearing this, his heart completely skips a beat. The raw loneliness in her voice is so real that he completely freezes up. But right then, she suddenly releases him and steps right in front of his face. Yup, that cursed pair of scissors is right back in her hand as she tilts her head. The cold metal presses gently against his chest. If little brother really does not want me, Then Big Sister will just carve out your heart so you can stay with me forever. That way we will never have to part. His legs instantly turn to jelly. Cold sweat completely drenching his back, while moonlight pours through the window. Her eyes glint like a feral beast. He stammers that he was only joking. With a dry laugh, he says she is the absolute best. Instantly, she beams. The scissors vanish like magic. Good boy, she says. She will cook him a midnight snack. Watching her skip away happily, he completely collapses onto the cold floor. Seriously, this girl is actually insane, like off the charts crazy. The second his parents finally get home, he rushes them like they are his saviors. Mom, Dad, please send her away. She is completely out of her mind. His parents look at him totally confused, then glance over at a sweet, smiling Liu Ruyan. His mom asks what is going on, and Liu Ruyan's eyes instantly well up with tears. Maybe I am just not good enough, she whimpers, looking down. He does not like me. She drops 2 tears right on cue. Honestly, her acting is actually insane. The Oscars literally owe Maodou's sister a golden trophy. The dad immediately snaps at him, asking how he could treat Ruyan so badly when she cares so much. Maodou tries to defend himself, yelling that she literally threatened him with scissors. The mom is completely confused, asking what scissors, as Maodou turns to look at Liu Ruyan. She just blinks her big, innocent eyes, holding up a tiny pair of plastic toy scissors. She asks him softly if he just had a bad nightmare. She claims she was only trimming loose threads, leaving Maodou completely terrified of this woman. That night, Maodou locks his door and calls his friend Afei, begging for help against this psycho. Afei sounds way too excited as he asks if she is really that crazy. Maodou shivers, explaining that this girl literally tries to control his entire life. When he mentions the threats, Afei just whistles in response. He calls it a classic Yandere trope and tells Maodou he hit the jackpot. Like, bro, what? Maodou whispers back in a panic, telling him he is definitely not lucky. He warns that she might actually kill him, but his degenerate friend thinks that makes it even better. Afei promises to visit tomorrow to see her, leaving Maodou to finally head to bed. Suddenly, the door handle begins to slowly turn, sending a jolt of pure terror through him. Thank goodness he actually locked the door this time. Liu Ruyan's voice drifts through the door, sickeningly sweet, asking him to open up. She claims she brought him warm milk, but he quickly stammers out a refusal. His voice shakes as he tells her he is already asleep. After a few seconds of heavy silence, she lets out a soft chuckle and agrees. She wishes him sweet dreams and walks away. Hearing her footsteps fade, he lets out a massive sigh of relief. But then he notices a note sliding under the door and picks it up with trembling hands. Written in beautiful handwriting, it says that locking his door is super cute. But she has rules, ending with a drawn heart. Honestly, this girl gives off pure final boss energy. He literally cannot live like this, so the very next day he plans his escape. He decides to take refuge at Afei's place, but a sweet voice suddenly stops him. Liu Ruyan is waiting right at the door, playfully twirling a lock of her hair. Meanwhile, those toy scissors are spinning like a fan in her other hand. He gulps, stammering that he's just going to play games before she suddenly leans in close. She gets so close he can count her eyelashes, asking exactly which friend he is visiting. She demands to know their gender, where they live, and when he will be back. He quickly explains that Afei is a guy living just next door. He promises to be back before dark, rushing to explain everything in one breath. His back is pressed flat against the door as she tilts her head, analyzing him. Her dark eyes look like absolute bottomless pits, but then she suddenly smiles.
She adjusts his collar and tells him to be back by 10, or she will worry.
Feeling like he escaped, Maodou bolts straight to Afei's place. The place smells like instant noodles and dirty laundry, but he collapses onto the gaming chair anyway. Bro is looking like a completely defeated soul. Naturally, Afei leans in, dying of curiosity. He asks if she really threatened him with scissors, and Maodou confirms it is absolutely true. Gulping down some cola, Maodou complains that she tracks his every single move.
She even asks to help when he goes to the bathroom, leaving Afei stroking his chin.
His friend jokes that this sounds like some weird role play, so our boy chucks a pillow at him. He complains about mortal danger, but his friend just says to call the cops.
He goes silent, honestly, as a fan of this trope, even though this yandere is absolutely terrifying,
Aside from pointing those scissors at him, she hasn't really harmed him at all.
Plus, her cooking is top tier. Honestly, when our main character heads back home that evening,
He finds the entire apartment completely spotless, with all his dirty laundry freshly washed. The takeout boxes thrown out, and even his prized collection of adult magazines? Neatly arranged on a shelf and wrapped in plastic? Okay, she's actually built different. Suddenly, Liu Ruyan pokes her head out from the kitchen, welcoming him home.
she tells him to wash up, presenting a massive feast of braised pork ribs, steamed fish, and winter melon soup, making his stomach growl like crazy from the rich aroma.
She immediately scoops a warm bowl of soup, sliding it over with a sweet crescent moon smile.
She mentions simmering it for 3 hours, so our boy hesitantly takes a sip.
It's so incredibly delicious, he almost bites his tongue, while she rests her chin, watching. With a satisfied grin, she asks if it's good, and he stubbornly stutters that it's okay. But his hand is already reaching for another rib when she suddenly pins his hand right down.
She asks what he says before eating, reminding him to thank his big sister.
Her fingers are ice cold, slowly wrapping around his hand like a literal snake. His scalp goes numb as he stammers out a thank you, and she happily lets go.
She even wipes some grease from his mouth before he ends up chilling on the couch watching some TV.
Liu Ruyan brings over some fresh fruit and naturally slides right in next to him.
But the moment her leg brushes against his, he springs up like he got electrocuted.
He quickly runs to the bathroom to take a shower. Inside, he notices his regular body wash was swapped for lavender, and there's a new exfoliating scrub on the shelf. Worse, there's a lipstick message on the mirror telling him to take care of his skin. Red flag.
staring at that heart, his pulse is racing, but right as he puts on his pants, the door flies open.
Liu Ruyan is standing right there at the door, holding up his fresh underwear. But as she holds out his boxers, her voice suddenly cuts off completely. The two lock eyes, and our poor guy screams, desperately grabbing a towel to cover his lower half.
She doesn't even blink, staring straight at his abs. Honestly, she's completely shameless. Calling her a total pervert, he hurls a bottle of shampoo right at her face. She easily dodges the bottle, laughing as she slowly shuts the door.
She jokingly offers to scrub his back next time. That night, our boy has a terrifying nightmare.
He dreams of Liu Ruyan using those sharp scissors to slice his chest open. Talk about a literal heartbreaker. He wakes up completely drenched in sweat, only to spot a dark shadow sitting right beside his bed.
In the pitch-black room, Liu Ruyan's voice cuts through, softly asking if he had a bad dream. Terrified, he almost rolls off the bed, panicking and demanding to know how she got in.
She calmly points out the door was unlocked, reaching to touch his forehead with fingers cold as ice.
Noticing how heavily he's sweating, she gently offers to wipe the sweat away. Frozen solid with fear, he has no choice but to let her wipe down his chest. This tension is unreal.
Her minty fresh breath tickles his neck, sending shivers down his spine in this insanely tense moment. Whispering that his heart is beating so fast, she presses her palm directly over his chest.
She asks if it's from fear or excitement, and he quickly backs away, stammering out fear.
His head hits the headboard as she suddenly leans all the way down. Her lips almost brush against his ear as she whispers that he's a liar, before quietly walking away. With footsteps quiet as a cat outside, this poor guy just stares at the ceiling until dawn. When the weekend hits, his parents head out again, but right before they leave, his mom literally slips him a box of Durex. Our boy almost dies on the spot. He says they are not like that, but his mom just smiles. It is bound to happen. Winking at him, his mom reminds him that Ruyan is such a sweet girl.
Telling him not to let her down, she leaves him staring at Ruyan in pure despair. She sweetly waves goodbye, then turns around and hits him with a devilish smirk. This girl is wild.
Now they are completely alone, and our boy immediately takes a nervous couple of steps back. He stammers, asking what she wants, but she just tosses him an apron for cleaning duty. Telling him to start with his pigsty, she kicks off the most terrifying 6 hours of his life. Liu Ruyan literally turns into a human vacuum, sweeping through every single corner of his room. Even his limited edition anime figures get aggressively wiped down with alcohol wipes. She organizes his games alphabetically and completely replaces all his bedding with fresh sheets. Then she spots a pile of paper, picking up a stack of his private manga drafts. He yells at her to stop and lunges forward, but she easily dodges his grasp. Flipping through them, she teased that her little brother is actually a pretty good artist. She pulls one sheet out, noting she especially likes how he drew this girl's chest.
Saying it is way.
He holds her manuscript way up high, teasingly demanding a quick kiss before he gives it back.
She rejects him, but then he pulls scissors out of nowhere, threatening to crop her hard work.
Seeing those blades closing in on her absolute masterpiece, she completely folds and gives in.
She plants a lightning-fast peck on his cheek, lighter than a tiny mosquito bite.
But Liu Ruyan literally freezes in place, like someone just hit the pause button on her. Her cheeks blush a deep red, and our boy takes the chance to snatch his manuscript back. But then he looks up and sees her eyes are all watery, looking like a wet kitten. She softens her voice, begging him if they can please do it just one more time. No way! Our boy runs to the corner, clutching his draft, while she sits kneeling on the bed.
She pouts, calling him stingy. Honestly, her pouting is just too cute.
At this point, he realizes he is actually starting to get used to her being around. Watching her hum while cooking in the kitchen actually feels pretty heartwarming to him.
She feeds him a piece of chicken, telling her favorite boy to give it a taste. He instinctively takes a bite, only to realize this basically counts as an indirect kiss.
He almost chokes as she looks at him expectantly, asking if it is good. He just nods, totally too shy to look her in the eyes. She immediately asks for a reward, leaving our boy totally confused.
Turns out she wants him to dry her hair, and now they are on the couch. So Liu Ruyan is literally resting right between our boy's legs, wet hair draped over his knees.
As the hairdryer hums away, her soft strands keep tickling his nose. "You're pretty good with your hands, little bro," she teases, looking up at his collar. His shirt is wide open, exposing his collarbone, so our boy desperately stares at the wall clock. She tells him not to move because he's getting shy, then suddenly spins around.
She wraps both arms around his waist, teasing him that his face is totally red.
The hairdryer clatters to the ground, and bro, his heart starts racing. It's so loud, the whole building can probably hear it as he desperately tries to push her off. He tells them to cut it out, instantly dropping his stance. His eyes go completely red, asking what the MC just called him. Before the MC can answer, Liu Ruyan grabs his chin and aggressively demands to be called sister.
Scared by the pure madness in his eyes, the MC stutters out the word sister.
Just like that, he flips the switch and smiles sweet as honey, calling him a good boy. He plants a soft kiss on the MC's forehead before happily skipping away. He says he is going to slice some fruit, leaving the MC staring at his cheerful retreating back. Touching his forehead, the MC is left standing there with his emotions in absolute chaos. Late that night, the MC wakes up to use the restroom but notices the kitchen light is still shining. There stands Liu Ruyan, back turned, shoulders trembling. The MC calls out his nickname, Jan Jan, and he spins around instantly.
He tries to hide whatever he's holding, but the MC spots a medicine bottle.
"Why is my little brother awake?" he asks, voice completely hoarse. When asked if he is sick, Liu Ruyan just shakes his head and stuffs the bottle into his pocket.
Just vitamins, he claims. Go to sleep.
The MC hesitates before stepping forward, gathering the courage to ask to see the bottle. But he just takes a step back, his eyes darting around nervously. After a tense standoff lasting a few seconds, he finally lets out a heavy sigh. He pulls the bottle back out, revealing antidepressants that are already half empty. The MC stares in shock, but he actually smiles. It is a smile so fragile it could shatter like glass as he asks if he scared his little brother. Taking the bottle back, he shrugs it off as just an old issue he deals with.
He begs the MC not to tell their parents, leaving the MC completely speechless.
The MC can only nod, prompting him to reach out and gently pat his head. Back in bed, the MC tosses and turns, unable to erase the image of Liu Ruyan's lonely back. He cannot help but wonder what kind of dark past this guy has actually gone through, and honestly, I am dying to know too. And why is he so obsessed with this brother role? The next morning, the MC wakes up with massive dark circles. He finds breakfast already prepared, but Liu Ruyan is gone, leaving only a note saying he went grocery shopping. The note says he will be back soon and tells him to microwave the milk for 1 minute first.
It is signed, Love Your Sister, right next to a drawn heart. While the MC feels a strange tightness in his chest, his friend Afei suddenly calls him up. Afei tells him to get over to the anime convention ASAP, but the MC hesitates, mentioning his sister. His friend immediately tells him to bring her along, saying she would absolutely steal the show. It would be a total crowd pleaser, but just as the MC is about to curse him out for the suggestion, the door opens and Liu Ruyan walks in carrying bags of groceries, tilting his head when he sees the phone. Somehow, the MC blurts out that his friend invited them both to the convention.
Liu Ruyan's eyes instantly light up as he asks if it is a date, which the MC quickly denies. Half an hour later,
they're standing at the entrance, and Liu Ruyan has changed into a beautiful white dress. With long black hair framing his face, he looks as pure and innocent as a college girl. That is, if you completely ignore how death-gripped his hand is around the MC's arm, which is kinda terrifying, not gonna lie. Leaning in close, he whispers into the MC's ear, asking why that girl over there keeps staring. Looking over, the MC spots a girl cosplaying as the Raiden Shogun. Trying to play it off, the MC says she is just looking at a sign, but Liu Ruyan narrows his eyes. He pinches the MC's waist hard, declaring that a big sister does not like anyone staring at her property. Ow, the MC groans, arguing that he is not an object. Wait, that came out completely wrong. Just then, Afei runs up to them and freezes dead in his tracks the second he sees Liu Ruyan. His buddy leans in and whispers, "Holy crap, she is absolutely gorgeous." Liu Ruyan flashes a sweet smile, introducing herself to everyone as Maodou's older sister. But right behind his back, she gives him a vicious pinch before he heads off to buy drinks. When he gets back, he sees Liu Ruyan cornered by a bunch of guys asking for her contact info. She politely shakes her head, her eyes clearly searching the crowd for someone. The moment she spots him, her eyes light up instantly as she runs over to grab his arm. She whines about guys bothering her, and seeing the boyfriend vibe, the crowd awkwardly backs off. "You clearly handled that just fine," he says, handing over her milk tea. She bites down on the straw and mumbles, asking if he wants to protect his big sister. This cute teasing totally makes his heart skip a beat as they walk past a pet shop on the way home. Liu Ruyan presses against the window to watch a ragdoll cat, and he asks if she likes it. She just shakes her head, saying the cat reminds her of her little brother. She pokes his cheek with a laugh, saying the silly thing is actually pretty adorable. The golden sunset washes over her face, and he suddenly notices that when she isn't smiling, she has a faint beauty mark near her eye. Later, while showering at night, he realizes his body wash has been swapped with her lavender scent, and the sweet fragrance completely fills the bathroom. It somehow brings back the exact smell of her hair. Later, as he lies in bed, his phone suddenly vibrates with a text from Liu Ruyan asking if her little brother is asleep yet. He replies that he is about to, then asks if she was happy today. She texts back that she is super happy, wishing him good night with a heart icon. His thumb hovers over the screen for a long time before he finally texts back, "Good night, sister," immediately regretting it. He buries his face in the pillow. Guys, he is low-key starting to get used to that nickname. Late at night, the doorknob starts to turn again, and he quickly pretends to be sound asleep. The mattress dips slightly as Liu Ruyan quietly slips into the bed right next to him. She wraps her arms around his waist, pressing her face gently against his back. She whispers for him not to hate his big sister, and hearing her cry like that makes his chest tighten. He wants to turn around, but worries he will startle her, so he forced himself to stay still. After a while, her breathing finally softens and becomes steady. He carefully looks back and sees her completely curled up like a ball. With tears still clinging to her eyelashes, she looks like an incredibly vulnerable, insecure child. He sighs quietly, gently pulling up the blanket to tuck her in. When he wakes up the next morning, something inside him just takes over. He gently brushes the stray hair from her forehead, realizing she looks completely peaceful and harmless while sleeping. Her long lashes cast soft shadows across her cheeks, and there is a tiny, faint smile on her lips. Suddenly, his phone buzzes with a text from his buddy Afei. He's asking if he's coming to the basketball game today. Before he can reply, Liu Ruyan stirs in his arms, her eyes slowly fluttering open as she looks up. Spotting him, she instantly beams and leans in for a morning kiss, making him quickly flinch back. But she is too quick, planting a soft peck right on his cheek. Then she hops out of bed to go make breakfast.
Watching her cheerful retreat, he gently touches his cheek where she just kissed him. He sighs, but notices something pretty strange about himself. This time, he is not even annoyed, and honestly, guys, that is a massive red flag. He casually mentions that Ah Fei invited him to play basketball, and her hand cutting the bacon suddenly freezes. The knife tip digs deep into the cutting board as she coldly asks what time he is coming back. "Come back for dinner by 8 p.m., she tells him, not even looking up. She adds that she made his favorite sweet and sour ribs, leaving him totally speechless. All he says is okay, then heads straight to the basketball court. His buddy Ah Fei winks and asks if his sister actually let him leave, while our boy dribbles the ball. He says she has been acting super normal lately, making Ah Fei raise his eyebrows in disbelief. "No more midnight bedroom creeping?" Ah Fei asks, right as our boy shoots a three-pointer. Our boy says she just does not feel that scary anymore, but Ah Fei shakes his head. "Stockholm Syndrome?" Ah Fei warns. On his way home, things get weird. Our boy randomly detours into a flower shop and actually buys a bouquet of sunflowers. The florist asks if he wants a card, so he hesitates before writing, "Thank you, sister." When Liu Ruyan opens the door, her eyes go wide with surprise as she asks if they are for her. He awkwardly hands them over, telling her she always buys plain white ones, which instantly brings tears to her eyes. She immediately hugs him tight, crying that her little brother is the absolute best, while he just stands there frozen. Inhaling the sweet scent of her shampoo, he actually does not try to push her away this time. After lunch, while she is washing dishes in the kitchen, our boy notices her phone screen suddenly light up. It is a preview of a text asking if she's been taking her medicine on time.
The text is from Dr. Huang, instantly reminding him of the antidepressant pills he found that night.
After debating it, he picks up the phone to read the rest of the message. Suddenly, arms wrap around him from behind as she whispers about her little brother snooping. Liu Ruyan giggles right in his ear, which is low-key terrifying and honestly gave me chills. He panics and drops the phone immediately, but she spins around and gently runs her finger under his chin. She tells him he can always just ask her, unlocking the screen and offering it right up. Now that she is offering, he is low-key too terrified to take it and quickly declines. Her smile vanishes instantly as she mentions her secrets. She asks if he can wait, and for a second, a flash of pure vulnerability shows in her eyes. His heart low-key melts, so he just nods. Later that afternoon, he is chilling on the couch, gaming. Liu Ruyan slides over and rests her head right on his lap, making his fingers twitch. Boom, his character dies, and she tells him to stay focused. She looks up at him while tracing slow circles on his knee. He groans that he cannot focus like this, so she tells him to stop playing then. She sits up and straddles his lap, teasingly suggesting he play with her instead. Our boy almost throws his controller across the room. Talk about high tension. She leans in until their noses are practically touching, locking eyes with him. Her dark eyes look completely bottomless, and he can smell the sweet mint on her breath. His heart is beating out of his chest, but thank God the doorbell suddenly rings. They both instantly jump apart. He opens the door to find Ah Fei standing outside. Ah Fei looks at him, then at his slightly messy-looking sister, flashing a highly suspicious grin. Ah Fei asks if he interrupted, but our boy just drags him right inside. He says he arrived at the perfect time, while Liu Ruyan instantly switches back to her sweet sister persona. She politely greets Ah Fei and asks if he wants some juice. Ah Fei leans in and whispers if this is what he meant by not scary. Since their parents are out for the evening, Ah Fei stays over for dinner. Liu Ruyan cooks up an absolute feast, constantly piling food onto her brother's plate. She even uses a handkerchief to wipe his face, leaving Ah Fei completely stunned. Ah Fei literally cannot hold back anymore and asks if they are actually just siblings. Liu Ruyan just smiles and says, of course, she's his big sister. He is mine, she says, giving our guy a highly meaningful look. Right after his little brother Ah Fei leaves, Liu Ruyan suddenly calls out to him. Come with me to a certain place tomorrow, she says. Where? It is a secret. She winks and tells him to just treat it like a real date. Definitely not a date. The next day, though, things get real. Liu Ruyan leads him to a cemetery on the outskirts, holding white chrysanthemums. She walks straight to a tombstone engraved with the name of her beloved brother, Liu Xiaoyang. Our main character stares in absolute shock at the photo, The kid looks 70% like him. "This is my little brother," Liu Ruyan says as she gently sets the flowers down.
Her voice is incredibly soft as she mentions he passed away in a car crash 5 years ago.
She kneels on the ground, her fingers slowly tracing the boy's face in the photo.
She whispers how Xiaoyang loved her sweet and sour ribs and always begged her for bedtime stories.
Her voice drops even lower as she remembers the exact day he left them.
She blames herself for not protecting him, and suddenly our guy finally understands everything.
No shot! He was just a substitute this whole time? He stands there completely speechless. He says he had no idea, but she admits that the first time they met, she genuinely thought her little brother had returned. She looks up at him. Tears silently stream down her face because they look so incredibly alike.
Our main character crouches down next to her, hesitating for just a second.
He wraps his arms around her and she starts trembling in his embrace. She is shaking like a wounded animal. At this point, his fear of her wild obsession completely vanishes. All he feels is pure heartbreak for her. Later, on the long walk back home, Liu Ruyan holds his hand tighter than ever before, softly calling him brother once again. She suddenly promises she will never force him into anything again because she finally figured it out. Staring into the distance, she quietly admits that he is not her little brother. She knows she shouldn't treat him like a replacement. Talk about an unexpected turn of events. He asks if she is still going to live with him, and she suddenly stops. She turns around, looks him dead in the eye, and asks if he wants her gone. Our guy freezes. A month ago, he wanted her gone, but now he just scratches his head. He admits he got used to having her around, making her eyes light up instantly. She suddenly lunges forward and hugs him tight, declaring that she is definitely staying. But then she steps back and says she wants to be there strictly as herself, Liu Ruyan. She refuses to treat him like a replacement anymore. Honestly, the author is cooking a masterpiece here. He nods, feeling a massive weight lift from his chest. That night, he actually knocks on her door. He asks if she wants to watch a movie, and she looks at him with pure joy. She can barely believe it. Soon, they are sitting side by side on the living room couch. The horror movie hits a massive jump scare, and Liu Ruyan immediately grabs onto his arm. This time, he does not pull away. She softly asks if he is not scared. He admits he is pretty terrified, choosing to be totally honest with her.
But he adds that he is way more afraid of her pulling out scissors, making her burst out laughing.
She giggles and reminds him that those scissors were just cheap plastic anyway.
"Yeah, but your pinches still hurt," he complains. She leans in close, her breath touching his ear. "Let me rub it for you," she whispers. His ears turn bright red, but he stays put.
As the TV screen glows on her face, he realizes her smile is actually beautiful.
A tiny dimple shows on his right cheek. Late at night, half asleep, our main character feels someone slip onto his bed as Runyan snuggles right into his arms like usual. But this time he whispers a quiet ask if it is okay, and our guy is so drowsy he just mumbles back. He carefully edges closer, wrapping his arms tight around the MC's waist. It is gentler than he has ever been. Then comes the weekend morning. A delicious aroma wakes our main character up, and he pushes open his bedroom door. He finds Ruyan busy in the kitchen wearing an apron, with the bright sunlight streaming through the window right onto him. It practically gives him a golden glow while he hums a little tune. His hair is tied up in a casual ponytail, showing off his pale neck. Sensing him there, Ruyan turns with a smile to say breakfast is almost ready. Our guy just stands there, totally frozen. Just a month ago, this would have been a straight-up horror movie setup for him. But now, it low-key feels like home, with a table full of his favorite fried eggs and bacon. There is even a steaming cup of milk, with Ruyan sitting right across from him. Resting his chin in his hands, Ruyan asks if it tastes good. The MC just nods and eats. He does not dare meet his eyes, especially after what went down at the cemetery. Things between them have gotten pretty complicated. Ruyan stopped forcing him to call him sister. No more midnight scissor threats, but honestly, this sudden peaceful vibe is actually harder to get used to. Out of nowhere, Ruyan asks him to tag along somewhere. When asked where, he says the hospital for a checkup. That is when the MC notices the dark circles under Ruyan's eyes, remembering the meds he found that night.
He nods and agrees. Soon, they arrive at the psychiatry clinic of the city hospital. Ruyan guides him through the corridors like he has done this a million times, but he is visibly anxious while waiting. Acting on pure instinct, our guy reaches out and takes his hand to comfort him. Ruyan looks up, completely shocked. But then, a massive smile breaks out on his face as he tightly locks their fingers together. Dr. Huang is a friendly middle-aged woman. She raises an eyebrow at the MC, so Ruyan introduces him as his brother. He says it with this undeniable touch of pride in his voice.
While the session is going on, the MC waits outside in the hallway.
Looking through the glass door, he can see Ruyan constantly looking down. Ruyan is gesturing excitedly about something, while the doctor just nods along and takes notes. An hour later, the door finally opens. Ruyan's eyes are pretty red. But he looks way more relaxed. The MC stands up immediately to ask how it went.
The doctor says he is making real progress, Ruyan whispers back.
Then he turns back to the doctor to formally introduce Maodou. Dr. Huang gives our guy a very meaningful look, saying Ruyan has shared a lot about him. She thanks him for taking care of him, which makes the MC awkwardly scratch his head. He does not even know what to say. Taking care of him? Ruyan is the one who has been doing all the caring. On the bus ride home, Ruyan ends up falling asleep right on his shoulder. His breathing is soft and steady, his eyelashes fluttering ever so slightly. He looks just like a tired kid. The MC gently shifts his weight to make him more comfortable. Ruyan murmurs his name in his sleep, snuggling even deeper into his chest. At this point, the MC's heart definitely skips a beat. Later that night, he actually suggests a movie. Ruyan is thrilled and immediately brings out a massive mountain of snacks from his room. Once they sit down on the couch, Ruyan naturally leans in, resting his head right on his shoulder. Halfway through the film, the MC suddenly feels something warm wet his shoulder. He is actually crying. Panicking, our guy starts frantically looking around for some tissues. Ruyan wipes his tears, saying it is nothing. He's just really grateful he came with him. Our guy thinks about how he was always alone, making his chest tighten up. He reaches out to ruffle her hair and promises to spend more time with her, making her look up. Her eyes sparkle as she asks if he means it, then suddenly throws herself into a tight hug. She squeezes so hard he can barely breathe while happily declaring that her little brother is the absolute best. He just helplessly lets her hold him, catching the sweet scent of shampoo from her soft hair. Strangely, he does not even hate this feeling, but that night he ends up having a wild dream. He sees Liu Ruyan standing far away and smiling, but when he tries to chase her, his legs won't move. Waking up in a panic, he finds her sitting right by his bed, quietly watching over him. He sleepily calls out to his sister, and she gently whispers that he was having a nightmare. She tells him he kept calling her name, and that is when he realizes he is completely drenched in sweat. Liu Ruyan starts wiping his forehead with a wet towel, acting so incredibly gentle it is almost unreal. She asks what he was dreaming about, but our guy just claims he forgot. He is definitely lying, but she just gives a soft smile and decides not to push him. She tells him to go back to sleep while she stays by his side, so he closes his eyes. He feels her hand gently patting his back, almost like a mother coaxing her child to sleep. With that comforting rhythm, he drifts right back to sleep, and before they know it, the weekend arrives. They head out to the supermarket to stock up, with Liu Ruyan happily pushing the shopping cart. She looks just like any ordinary girl, totally stressed over which brand of yogurt she should buy. Staring at her focused face, a sudden realization hits him out of nowhere. Honestly, he has not seen her as that terrifying Yandere sister for a really long time now. She holds up 2 boxes of strawberries, asking her little brother which one looks better. She is carefully comparing their sizes, but he just gives a super casual answer that either is fine. But she gets stubborn and insists he has to choose one right now. After all, she wants only the absolute best for him, and they end up buying a massive haul. At checkout, the cashier asks if they are a couple. He instantly denies it, but she chimes in saying she is his sister. While she says it with the sweetest smile, she secretly gives his waist a brutal pinch. She pouts the entire way home, and right at the front door, she suddenly calls out to him. Biting her lip, she admits she hates people misunderstanding them because she does not want to just be his sister. His brain completely short-circuits as she looks him straight in the eyes and confesses her love. She makes it clear it is not just sibling love, leaving his ears ringing in pure shock.
His heart is pounding like crazy, and he can barely process the fact that she actually likes him.
She quickly looks down, telling him that he does not have to give her an answer right away.
She knows this is incredibly sudden, and our guy just stands there with his mouth wide open. He is completely speechless, watching her force a weak smile to hide her nerves. She quietly grabs the groceries and heads into the kitchen, leaving him frozen in place.
At this point, his entire world is spinning, and things only get weirder over the next few days.
The vibe between them becomes super awkward, and Liu Ruyan stops clinging to him altogether. Whenever their eyes meet, she immediately looks away, completely avoiding any contact. She even stops sneaking into his room at night, staying strictly in her own bed. Staring at the ceiling, he cannot help but ask himself if he actually likes her back. The question keeps looping in his head. Sure, she is incredibly beautiful and gentle. Even if she can be scary, she is a great cook and cares deeply about him. But at the end of the day, she is still his sister, even if only by name.
By Friday night, his friend Afei calls him out to grab some drinks. After a few shots, he finally spills the entire story to his buddy.
Afei is literally trying to teach him how to turn his roommate's sister into his girlfriend. Peak otaku dream right here. Our main character kicks him, telling him to shut up because he's actually serious. But do you actually like her? The question makes him pause. He remembers her humming while cooking. He remembers her warmth when she leaned on his shoulder, and the way her eyes shined when she confessed. His heart starts racing again. Afei just shakes his head, telling him he is completely whipped. He gets home past midnight, but the living room light is still shining. Liu Ruyan is curled up asleep on the couch, her phone still clutched in her hand. He creeps over to wake her up, but then he spots what is displayed on her screen. It is a photo of him. When on earth did she take this? His heart melts, and he kneels down to look at her sleeping face. Moonlight filters through the curtains, casting a soft, beautiful glow over her features. Almost on instinct, he reaches out to gently brush the hair away from her forehead. Suddenly, her eyes flutter open, and their gazes lock. She sleepily calls out to her little brother, and he softly tells her to go sleep in your room. Sitting up and rubbing her eyes, she asks if he drank, then offers to cook him some hangover soup. She starts to get up, but he gently presses her shoulders down, telling her it is fine. He admits he has something to say, and she completely freezes up. She looks at him anxiously while he takes a deep, nervous breath. It is about her confession, but before he can speak, she quickly says he can reject her.
She promises she will not threaten him with scissors anymore, making him chuckle and clarify that is not it. He tells her he actually likes her too, and her eyes instantly widen.
Like a startled little deer, she asks if it is true, and he nods. He nods, saying she can be scary, and she definitely puts too much salt in her food. Plus, she always sneaks photos of him. Suddenly, she lunges forward and throws her arms around him. Hugging him so hard she almost knocks him over, she tells him he cannot take it back. He hugs her back, taking in the familiar, comforting scent of her shampoo. He promises he will not. That night, they sit on the couch and talk until dawn. Liu Ruyan opens up about her past and her struggles with depression. She talks about getting through those dark days alone, while he admits how terrified of her he was initially. He explains how he slowly grew used to her presence, and she leans back into his chest. She asks if they are officially a couple now, and he nods. But they still have to act like siblings around his parents, which she giggles is actually more thrilling. When the morning sun finally peeks through the window, they are still on the couch. Liu Ruyan has already fallen asleep again, resting her head gently on his lap. He softly strokes her hair, feeling a deep, peaceful calm wash over him like never before. He realizes this is probably what real happiness feels like. Honestly, dating a yandere sister who literally threatened him with scissors sounds absolutely wild. It might sound completely insane, but it actually feels pretty good. Suddenly, his phone buzzes. It is a text from Afei asking how things went.
Afei asks if he confessed yet. He looks down at the sleeping Liu Ruyan.
He replies that it was a success, and Afei demands a free celebratory dinner. Smiling, he puts his phone down and presses a gentle kiss on her forehead. She stirs slightly, snuggling even deeper into his chest. A sweet, satisfied smile plays on her lips. By the next morning, they are officially official.
He wakes up earlier than usual, staring softly at her peaceful, sleeping face.
She curls up like a cat, her black hair messy on the pillow. With a faint smile on her lips, our guy gently brushes her bangs aside.
Suddenly, her eyes fly open, those dark obsidian eyes staring straight into his soul. "Good morning, little brother," she whispers, her voice raspy from just waking up. Touching his face gently, she makes his throat go dry in an instant. Didn't we agree to stop the brother nickname, or is she too used to it? She leans in for a quick kiss, calling him Maodou and making his ears turn bright red. Just a month ago, she threatened him with scissors, and now they are in bed kissing. Life is wild. At breakfast, Liu Ruyan is happily humming a song while frying eggs. Our guy is scrolling through his phone when his buddy Afei texts to ask about the date. No scissor stabs yet? He replies to screw off, everything is perfect. Afei calls it late-stage Stockholm Syndrome, right as Liu Ruyan walks over asking who it is. He mentions Afei while flipping his phone down, instantly triggering her dangerous Yandere mode. What is she not allowed to see, she asks, demanding the phone. Reaching out with a sweet smile, her eyes are completely frozen over. He sighs and hands it over, and she just laughs at the Stockholm Syndrome joke. Then she leans down, whispering if her little brother wants to try something else. Something much more exciting, causing our guy to instantly spit out his milk. "Call me Big Sister," Liu Ruyan commands, pinching his cheek playfully. She heads back to the kitchen, leaving him to wipe his mouth. His heart is still racing, even though they are officially dating now. Her yandere vibes haven't dropped at all. They just changed from death threats to teasing. Over the weekend, they head to the theater, struggling to pick a film. Liu Ruyan points to a horror movie, but he reminds her she is terrified of those. He definitely remembers her clinging to him in absolute terror during the last one. She blinks, saying that is exactly the point, so he can hold her tight. Yet during the entire movie, she just whispers nonstop technical commentary in his ear, complaining about how bad the ghost makeup looks and how fake the blood is, judging a jump scare like an absolute pro, showing zero actual fear. When he asks why she lied about being scared, she just laughs it off. Clinging to his arm, she admits she just wanted an excuse to hold him. On the way home, they pass a pet shop and she glues herself to the window. He asks if she likes the cute ragdoll cat inside, but she shakes her head. Saying the cat looks just as silly as him, she laughs and pokes his cheek. Admitting he is actually super cute while the sunset paints her face in a golden glow. For the first time, he notices a faint tear mole right under her eye when she is serious. That night, he is brushing his teeth when the bathroom door suddenly swings wide open. There stands Liu Ruyan in her nightgown, teasingly asking if he needs some help. Mouthful of toothpaste foam, our boy immediately refuses as she sighs in mock disappointment. Instead of leaving, she decides to watch him brush, leaving him completely frozen and awkward. Her intense gaze feels like a literal X-ray scanning every single inch of his body. When he finishes, she leans in, smelling the mint, and before he can even react, she pulls him into a deep kiss, tasting cool and sweet like fresh mint, making his head spin completely before she slowly pulls back and licks her lips, whispering that it tasted good, leaving him bright red as he pushes her away, calling her a pervert. "Only a creep for you," she laughs and runs off. Her nightgown flutters like butterfly wings as night falls over the house. Half asleep, Maodou feels someone climb onto his bed, and it is Liu Ruyan snuggling right into his arms like usual. But this time, she softly whispers if it is okay, and our boy is so sleepy he just mumbles yes. She carefully scoots closer, wrapping her arms gently around his waist. It is way more gentle than ever before, and then morning comes. Maodou wakes up to find their fingers intertwined, with sunlight hitting her peaceful, sleeping face. Honestly, this is when he first realizes that having a yandere girlfriend might actually be pretty sweet. Soon his parents return home while they are watching a movie. The sound of the key turning in the lock makes them scramble apart, even though his parents already know they are dating. Getting too close in front of family is always awkward. Suddenly, his mom walks in carrying tons of bags. She brought gifts, but his dad sees their red faces and smirks. He lets out a teasing cough, saying, "Oh, young people." But at dinner, his mom suddenly turns to Ruyan.
She asks if her family knows about her and Maodou, which makes Ruyan freeze mid-bite, her chopsticks stopping instantly.
Ruyan quietly says she has no family left, plunging the whole table into dead silence.
Maodou knew her mother had passed away, but never asked for details.
His mom looks incredibly apologetic and says she is so sorry, but Ruyan just smiles and says it is okay. Her eyes completely lose their shine, though, as she softly adds that having Maodou is all she needs.
Later that night, Maodou hears muffled sobbing coming straight from her room next door.
He pushes the door open and finds Ruyan curled up on her bed, clutching a picture frame tightly to her chest.
It is a photo of her and her mother. Maodou sits beside her on the bed and gently pulls her into a warm hug. She shakes in his arms, crying about that awful night.
Her voice sounds so distant as she brings up the car accident. She explains how her mom pushed her to safety, and Maodou just hugs her tighter, completely speechless. Words are totally useless here. Suddenly, she looks up at him with teary eyes.
Tears glisten in the moonlight as she asks if he will ever leave her, and he immediately promises he won't.
He wipes her tears, and she clings tightly. Holding in like a drowning person grabbing onto a lifesaver, this is where everything finally clicks for Maodou.
He finally understands the deep trauma behind her yandere behavior. She is just terrified of losing someone she loves again.
Next morning is Monday, and Maodou actually wakes up early.
Staring at her sleeping face, he wants to do something nice.
He tiptoes out of bed as quietly as possible and slips straight into the kitchen. It is officially his turn to make her breakfast, but 20 minutes later, things go hilariously wrong. Ruyan is choked awake by smoke, wondering what is burning. Maodou nervously points to a completely charred fried egg, making her freeze in pure confusion for a second. She bursts out laughing, hugging him tight from behind. Insisting on taking over, she stands shoulder to shoulder with him in the kitchen. Teaching him how to control the stove heat is actually adorable.
The morning sun beams through the window, wrapping them both in a warm, golden glow.
Out of nowhere, Ruyan softly whispers that she has always just wanted a normal, warm home. Maodou squeezes her hand, gently telling her that she finally has one now. Her eyes tear up, but with pure happiness. Later that afternoon, Maodou heads off to school while Ruyan goes grocery shopping. Before leaving, she slips him a note telling him to miss her, which makes his friend Afei gag in disgust. Afei tells them to stop being so cringe, but Maodou just smugly pockets the note, enjoying every single second. School's over, pouring rain, and Maodou has no umbrella. He's about to bolt for it, but then he spots a familiar figure waiting by the gate. It is Liu Ruyan waving an umbrella, and when he runs over asking why, she says she came to get him. She naturally locks arms with him, teasing that it is just her girlfriend duty.
Sharing one umbrella, they slowly walk home, their shoulders gently brushing against each other the entire way.
Feeling her warmth, Maodou secretly wishes this walk would just go on forever.
Out of nowhere, she softly thanks him, saying she is just so grateful he accepts someone like her. Her voice is almost drowned out by the heavy rain as she admits she can be scary sometimes. Maodou stops dead. He slowly turns to face her. Ruyan? He looks her dead in the eye and accepts all her crazy side. This confession is actually so beautiful.
Gentle or crazy, she is still herself, and hearing this makes her eyes light up.
Like stars suddenly igniting the night sky, she stands on her tiptoes and kisses him right there in the rain. At that moment, the rain and crowds completely fade away. Just pure silence. There is only her and this kiss, but by the time they get home, they are absolutely soaked. Laughing like absolute idiots, Ruyan grabs a towel and starts gently drying his hair. She treats him like a fragile treasure, but then out of nowhere, she mentions her therapy session next week. Maodou promises to accompany her, even though she warns this session will cover some incredibly heavy topics. Fiddling with the towel, she quietly brings up her dark past and depression. He gently squeezes her hand, reminding her that he is in this for the long haul, which finally brings back her beautiful smile. That evening, they cuddle up on the couch, watching some totally brainless variety show. Ruyan rests her head on his chest, playfully feeding him grapes.
Honestly, this domestic fluff is everything, but you just know the author is cooking up some drama.
During one of the commercial breaks, she looks up and suddenly asks him if they will always stay together just like they are right now. Kissing her forehead, he promises they will, and she lets out a happy sigh. She snuggles even closer into his chest, and right then, Maodou finally realizes what true happiness actually feels like. True happiness is not some dramatic romance, but just this quiet, steady presence. Before heading to bed, Ruyan stands at his doorway, quietly asking if she can sleep in his room tonight. He nods. She instantly leaps onto the bed, smiling wide. She is like a kid getting candy, and once the lights go out, she whispers a soft goodnight.
"Good night, Maodou," she whispers, "because right now, they are each other's world."
No external noise, just Maodou and Liu Ruyan holding on to each other. Two once lonely souls are now wrapped up tightly in each other's arms on this quiet, rainy night. Ruyan's therapy session is officially booked for next Wednesday afternoon at exactly 3 p.m. She circles the date with a red pen, trying to stay positive. Drawing a little smiley face next to it, when Maodou finally gets home on Wednesday, things feel off. He finds her curled up tightly on the couch, her fingers clutching the pillow like a lifeline. She does not want to go, so Maodou sits by her side. He gently takes her hand, but she just silently shakes her head. Her dark hair brushes his arm as she sighs, telling him she is just incredibly tired today. But he spots the dark circles under her eyes and her trembling hands. Ever since that deep, rainy night talk last week, Rian's terrifying nightmares have only been getting much worse. He has woken up multiple times in the dead of night to find her just sitting up, staring at him. Her eyes are completely hollow, as if she is staring at some distant, invisible place. "I will go with you," he says, gently squeezing her hand, until she finally whispers, "Okay." She looks up at him, forcing a weak smile as she gives a quiet nod. The psychiatric corridor at the city hospital is always way too bright. Those harsh lights leave you with nowhere to hide. Ruyan is just standing there, silently staring at a painting on the wall. Just some kids running around on the green grass under a clear blue sky. Her eyes instantly remind him of Liu Xiaoyang, the boy from the cemetery, when she suddenly asks, "What if?" Like, what if she says some really weird things during her therapy session today? What would he think? Honestly, nothing bad. He always replies that literally everyone in the world has secrets. She gently leans on his shoulder, her breathing getting a bit heavy. But she admits she is terrified those secrets might scare him off, and before he can even reply, the nurse calls her name, and Rian stands right up. Taking a deep breath, she heads inside like she is walking to an execution. Dr. Huang nods at our MC, warning him that this will be a deep therapy session. It might take a while, and then the door shuts. Sitting on the hallway bench, his phone screen lights up and goes dark. His friend Afe even texts him, asking if his Yandere sister is acting crazy again. Honestly, called it. The MC replies that they are getting therapy, leaving Afe completely shocked. He does not reply, just looking through the frosted glass of the clinic. Faintly seeing Ruyan's outline, he watches her bow her head before gesturing wildly in distress. 1 hour passes, then 2. His legs are literally going numb by the time the door finally clicks open. Ruyan walks out with red, crying eyes. Seeing the MC, she pauses for a second before rushing straight over. She buries her face into his chest, her muffled voice begging him to take her home. In the cab, she silently leans on his shoulder as he holds her hand, only to find her palm is covered in cold sweat, and once they are home, she goes straight to the bathroom. The shower runs for a long time while he warms up some milk. He sits in the living room waiting for her until the bathroom door finally clicks open. Rian steps out wearing his oversized t-shirt, her wet hair still dripping water. She takes the milk from him, taking tiny, quiet sips. Her eyes are totally unfocused, so he asks if she wants to talk. She hesitates, shaking her head, then nodding. Finally, she sighs, whispering that she might not actually be the person he thinks she is. Waiting for her to continue, she traces her cup while mentioning her brother. "He did not die in an accident," she whispers, and this plot twist is wild. She actually confesses to killing him. We were fighting in the middle of the road that day, and I pushed him, the milk cup. It is shaking in her hands before the MC places it on the table. He gently pulls her into a warm hug, and her entire body instantly tenses up. But a second later, she completely breaks down in his arms, crying that she regrets it every single day.
She endlessly blames her own impulsiveness while he gently rubs her back.
Feeling her body violently shaking from the sobs, our MC finally realizes the truth. This changes everything. Our MC finally gets why she is so obsessed with him. It is not just a substitute. It is about redemption, and he softly tells her that it is not her fault. He whispers that an accident is just an accident. She looks up, crying.
Asking if he really believes that, our MC gently wipes her tears away with a soft nod.
He tells her he loves who she is right now, no matter what went down in her past. Liu Ruyan's eyes widen in pure shock, completely unable to believe what she's hearing. She suddenly throws her arms around him so hard his ribs actually start to ache. She whispers a soft thank you in his ear, but her calling him brother makes his heart skip a beat. After everything they had been through, that word isn't just a label anymore. It's no longer about her finding a substitute, but a real, intimate acceptance. Later that night, Liu Ruyan sneaks into his room like usual, but this time is different. Instead of cuddling up, she just sits on the edge of the bed under the pale moonlight. She softly asks Maodou if she can ask him a quick question. She wonders what would happen if he ever uncovered more of her hidden secrets. Asking if he would still forgive her, he sits up to read her dead serious expression. He says it depends on the secret, making her nervously bite her lip.
She admits she has actually been taking antidepressants this whole time, not just sleeping pills.
She looks down, playing with her clothes, admitting she's done this since moving in.
Every single night. Otherwise, nightmares.
His heart sinks, realizing those peaceful nights they shared were actually drug-induced. It was all a medication-induced illusion, so he asks what else she's hiding. Hesitating, she pulls out her phone and opens a hidden photo album.
And bro, this is wild. It's packed with secret photos of him sleeping, eating, and gaming. Even blurry shower shots through the glass, with her whispering she just couldn't control herself. Her voice completely fades out, so he takes the phone to scroll through them himself. The oldest photos literally go all the way back to when they first met. Yep, that's a true yandere for you. She is built different. He calls her a little pervert and hands it back. She flinches, looking exactly like a criminal waiting for her final sentence. But then he adds that it's actually kind of cute. Her head snaps up, eyes glowing in the dark as she asks if he is mad. He plays along, telling her she needs to give him a heads up next time. That way he can strike a cooler pose, making her dive in to hug him tight. Laughing through her tears, she promises to always tell him from now on. He ruffles her hair, realizing this is the ultimate definition of painful pleasure. Dating a yandere is not for the weak, guys. You literally need a heart of steel. The next morning, they head to an amusement park to get some fresh air. She's wearing a cute white dress with her hair up and a high ponytail. She looks like a totally normal college girl. Well, if you ignore one tiny detail. Her absolute death grip on his arm. Then she points out another girl nearby, whispering in his ear that the girl has been staring at him for 5 straight minutes. He follows her gaze only to find a harmless balloon vendor just doing her job. He says she's just working, but she demands to know why she is looking at him. Her eyes narrow, threatening to confront her, making him panic and hold her back. To distract her, they head to the Ferris wheel, that high, enclosed space. It works. She quieted down as they reached the very top. Overlooking the whole city, she suddenly looks at him with a serious expression. She wants to stop the meds. Staring into the distance, she says her doctor thinks she can finally try sleeping on her own. He gently squeezes her hand, asking what he can do to help her through this. Liu Ruyan stays close, his eyes full of pure determination, waking him up from every single nightmare. And get this, Ruyan actually flushes all his sleeping pills down the toilet. That evening, he stands at Maodou's door clutching a pillow, asking to come in. Maodou gladly slides over, and Ruyan carefully lies down.
Whispering that classic question, "Can I hold you?"
He slides closer, wrapping his arms right around Maodou's waist, resting his head on Maodou's chest in the softest cuddle ever.
Honestly, their hearts are absolutely racing right now.
But without medication, the night gets rough, and Maodou is suddenly woken by soft sobbing. Ruyan is literally trembling, tears completely soaking Maodou's shirt. Maodou gently shakes him until Ruyan suddenly snaps his eyes open. His eyes are unfocused as he begs Xiaoyang for forgiveness, crying out that he did not mean to.
Maodou quickly cups his face to calm him down.
Ruyan just clings to him, sobbing that he dreamed Maodou left him too. He gently pats his back, whispering soft comforts like soothing a scared child. Slowly, his breathing calms, but his fingers still grip Maodou's shirt. Softly telling him to sleep, Maodou kisses his forehead, staying right there until morning. When the morning sun shines in, Ruyan is still fast asleep. Seeing that peaceful smile on his face, it suddenly clicks for Maodou. This is exactly what healing means, not forgetting the trauma, but learning to live with it, and by breakfast, Ruyan looks so much better. He is even humming while cooking, turning back to flash Maodou a warm smile.
The golden morning sun spills over him, making him look completely radiant.
Out of nowhere, he says he wants to visit Xiaoyang, and Maodou immediately joins him.
At the cemetery, Ruyan places white flowers by his brother's grave, but this time, he does not cry.
He just calmly wipes the dust away, softly introducing Maodou to his late brother, calling him his family instead of just a boyfriend. Honestly, that one word carries so much emotional weight.
On the walk back, Ruyan happily takes the initiative to hold Maodou's hand.
He shares some amazing news. He might actually stop taking his medication soon.
His eyes are practically glowing as he mentions his incredible progress.
Squeezing his hand, Maodou is thrilled, but then Ruyan hesitates and says he wants a job, saying he cannot rely on Maodou forever, which completely catches him off guard. Since moving in, Ruyan has barely left the house, keeping himself completely isolated. His entire universe revolved around Maodou, but now he is finally ready to step out. He wants to build his own life, so Maodou asks what he has in mind. Maybe a cozy bookstore or cafe.
Or even study counseling to help others going through similar struggles.
Hearing him use the word "we" is such a heartwarming moment for Maodou. That night, they are chilling on the couch watching a horror movie. Ruyan grabs Maodou's arm like usual, but this time he is not even pretending to be scared. Instead, he starts enthusiastically analyzing the director's camera work and style. Pointing at a jump scare, he mentions how that shot felt way too predictable. Seeing him so passionate and focused, Maodou just smiles, loving every bit of this incredible progress. He suddenly realizes that the crazy Yandere who used to threaten him with scissors and crawl into his bed is slowly transforming into a normal, everyday girl with her own dreams. And he is lucky enough to be right there helping her through it. Before bedtime, Liu Ruyan stands at his door, saying she can sleep on her own tonight. He is totally surprised. She nods, saying she really wants to try. But she still leaves a sweet goodnight kiss on his forehead before heading to her own room. Watching her walk away, he feels incredibly proud, but honestly, a little lonely too. Habit is seriously a powerful thing. In the middle of the night, he automatically wakes up. Wanting to see how she is sleeping, he gently pushes open her bedroom door. She is sound asleep. The soft moonlight is shining beautifully on her peaceful face. On her nightstand is a picture frame with the photo they took at the amusement park last week. He softly closes the door and goes back to bed. Now it is his turn to lose sleep. And that is the end of this masterpiece. Make sure to drop a like and follow. We will keep bringing you the best manhwa and novel recaps, so stay tuned.